everyone. Thanks for joining me. My name's Katrina, and this is just my 3 cents. And as I told you before, I have these sets that I bought from Dollar Tree. And today I'm going to be going ahead and doing the one that's for Berlin. And again, this is found in the Dollar Tree Plus section. It looks like there were 4 total, and I do have all 4. It's Tokyo, Berlin, San Francisco, and Venice. Yes, they do say that they're compatible with all leading brands, aka Lego. And so let's go ahead and get started. And as I mentioned previously, my husband and I were both stationed in the Army, or we served in the Army, and we were stationed in Germany, which is where we met. And our first son was born in Germany. All right, in a little old town called Bad Aibling, which is in Lower Bavaria. Was it north or south? South of Munich, I believe. But yeah, the base is no longer open to the U.S. It closed shortly after he was born. Back in 2002, when we left, it closed due to base realignment. And so that was one of the reasons why we came back stateside. But yeah, he was born in Germany. And I don't know if some of you all know, but when you are a child born to U.S. citizens, in Germany anyways, you have what's known as dual citizenship up until age 21. You can claim it up until age 21. So technically, if my son wanted to claim his German or dual citizenship at age 21, he would have had to go over to Germany and announce, I want to be proclaimed as a dual citizen of both Germany and of the United States. But he is a 100% U.S. citizen, as he is currently serving in the Air Force here in the U.S. When I was getting ready to join the military, I actually, showing my age a little bit, I joined for a couple reasons. But one of the stupid things, one of the silly things that inspired me to join was the movie G.I. Jane. Okay? Yes, the movie G.I. Jane had me thinking, oh snap, I could do that. I can hang with the boys. I'm a tomboy. What's up? I got it. So I just knew, yeah, I'm going to be like G.I. Jane. And so when I initially sought out recruiters, that's exactly what I was thinking, is that I'm gonna contact them, and I wanted to be like G.I. Jane. Now, initially, so the very first time I went to a recruiter's office, again, I'm from New York, so and I went to high school in Times Square. My high school was right off Times Square. Anyways, so the very first time I contacted a recruiter, they had a recruiting office that was off Times Square, and at the time, it's not there anymore. Now it's just the police department. This is NYPD police. I don't even know if it's still open, but it's underneath where they do the ball drop. Anyways, so at the time, I went in there one day and I was like, yeah, I want to join the military. I want to be just like G.I. Jane. And the guy looked at me like, no, you don't. You don't want to join. And this is a Marine, by the way. The Marine guy was like, you don't want to do that, young lady. You don't want to do that. No. And I'm like, yeah, I just saw G.I. Jane. I want to do that. And he was like, yeah, no. So then he was like, you can either join. Oh, funny story with that. The Navy guy kind of popped out from the back. You can join the Navy. And both me and the Marine guy kind of like chuckled. Now, mind you, I joined the military at the time. It was called, and I think they kind of have it now, but it was different. It was called a delayed entry program. And what that was that you could join while you were still in high school. And so that's exactly what I did. I joined while I was still a high school. In high school, I joined when I was a junior in high school. Yeah, junior in high school is when I joined. So I went during my junior year of high school. And so that was my summer vacation, basic training. It was my junior year of high school. And so by the time I came back for senior year, there were no more games to play. I was a full adult by then. Like, I had no more kid games to play. So anyways, go back to seeing the recruiters. When I popped in, I'm like, yeah, I want to be like G.I. Jane. And the guy just looked at me like, nah, that's not for you, but we'll go ahead and either wait for the Army guy to come back, or wait for the Air Force guy to come back. Now, here's where the Air Force guy came in. The Air Force guy never showed up, okay? And when I tell you, for 2 weeks straight, I went. It was 2 whole weeks. 2 whole flipping weeks straight. I went back to that office. And the Air Force recruiter guy never showed up. Never. And so finally, I was just like, okay, whatever. You know, things weren't going the way I wanted them to go at the house. You guys know the tale. Everybody, you know, you don't have the best home life or whatever. And I was like, look, I don't really want to be here like that. I'm trying to find a way out. It's, you know, I need to make moves. This house situation, I couldn't see my future. My future was looking dim and dull. I was like, I don't want to be with these jokers, nor do I want to turn out like these jokers. That's what I was thinking in my head. Okay, I'm just gonna put it. That's exactly. That was my other real motivation. It was GI Jane, but it was also that like, oh my gosh, I don't see a path for my life, and I'm definitely not gonna find it around here. So, anyways, that was that. Anyway, so the 2 whole weeks after trying to look and find the Air Force recruiter, crickets. Never came in the office. And I was like, well, what do I do? So finally, one day, I ran into an Army recruiter, and he was like, here, just take the ASVAB, and we'll see how how you score. So that ASVAB wasn't nothing to me. Like, boom, I took it. I scored high as hell. Joined the Army in so summer of my junior year. I said I went to basic training in Fort Jackson, oh my God, I almost said Louisiana. Fort Jackson, South Carolina, is when I went to basic training. I had a blast. Now, a lot of people back in the day, and I don't know if they still call it that, but back in the day, they used to call it Camp Jackson. And I was of the second crew, if you will, of when they had finally just integrated Camp Jackson. Here I go, Fort Jackson, because before they had never integrated basic training. It was always male then female. They never had it where you all did basic training together. So I was of the second class where they actually finally did that. And so maybe that was kind of a little haterism, people calling it Camp Jackson like that. That might have been a little bit with that. I had a blast. I hurt myself during basic training, but it wasn't enough to where I got washed out or rolled back or anything like that. But I learned a lot about myself too. I learned that I got this. I'm built for this. Like I'm about that. Anyways, I'm tougher I'm as tough as I knew. So my job ended up actually being intel. I was signals intel in the Army. Had a great time with that job when I did. Fast forward now to that of my son. He was graduating high school and in San Antonio, and we were telling him, that the military was a great option. Now, I will say I'll take some slack for this. Initially, we were I will say for me initially, I think I was putting the military as a plan B option, and I don't think that was the right way to go initially. And I guess I was trying to do it in a way like I wanted him to go the traditional route, if you will, the traditional go to college route. Go, I don't know. I thought that's what you were supposed to do. Go to college. I know why I joined the military. I joined the military to get the hell out of a situation. Um, Not that I couldn't go to college. Just the situation didn't allow for me to go to college. Again, I was a brain. I had already taken the SAT and scored relatively high at that time too on my SAT. But again, situationally, it just wasn't in the cards for me at the time. So what am I going to do? Just sit back and cry? No. I decided, you know what? Let me go ahead and make a move. That the military was a great option and available for me, and it worked out well. It panned out great. I'm thankful for my decision. My decision was one of the best decisions I've ever made. So, having said that, when it came time for our son to go to college or join the military, I did want to actually promote him to go to go to college. I was like, you know what, I would much prefer. In all honesty, I wish somebody would have pushed more for me to go to college than anything else. But we're gonna get up off of me. We're gonna get up off of me just for a quick moment there. But anyways, so off of me. But anyway, so when it came to him, I thought, the traditional route was the route that I thought was best to promote. Not because I didn't enjoy my military service. On the contrary, I definitely enjoyed my military service. Again, very proud of my military service. Um, so that's not to say, again, we weren't proud of it. But again, still wanted him to go the traditional route. So, anyways, so we all ended up moving here to the Houston area. Like I said, he enrolled his freshman year, excuse me, Prairie View A&M, which is a HBCU here in Waller County, above us in the Houston area. And so we were just down the road from him. And his freshman year was amazing. He did great. He did excellent, amazing. Even though he did great at Prairie View, I mean his freshman year, at Prairie View, I mean, he damn near got all A's. But unfortunately, he was so used to kind of hearing, I don't know, I want to say naysayers. I don't want to call them that, but they kind of were. He was so used to being in a PWI type setting like he was in San Antonio. Because San Antonio is very PWI, or where we were anyways. It was very PWI. And so he was so used to that that I guess he felt uncomfortable. Anyway, so his sophomore year, we went ahead against our better judgment. But we wanted to let him do what he wanted to do. We went ahead and let him transfer to University of Houston, main campus. And so he did. So his sophomore year he was downtown main campus U of H. And when I tell you my anxiety shot through the roof, U of H is a huge campus, beautiful campus, about a beautiful campus. I mean, his dorm room was nice. It was a quad. He actually stayed in the quad. It was a beautiful beautiful room. Now he was there again for the entire sophomore year. Now while he was there, his grades fell off the cliff, and not only did that happen, his demeanor went left. And I don't not in a way like he became very recluse. I'll just say my son is very outgoing. He gets that from his dad. Very, my husband and I are very different. He's a wallflower. Well, he's an extrovert. I'm very introvert. We are definitely opposites in that regard. So he's very loud. I'm very soft spoken. So my son leaned a little bit closer to my husband in that way. He's very easy to meet people, very easy to make friends. But all of a sudden, and that fared him well in Prairie View. So in Prairie View, in PV, he had no problems making friends, no problems, linking up with people and all of that. But for some reason, he still felt out of place. And I get it. We had just moved here. He didn't know anybody. Everybody kind of did already have their own little clique. But they didn't make him feel out of sorts. They did kind of welcome him in that way. Especially, like I said, the teachers loved on him, and put him up above everybody. And there was no judge. Oh, the thing I loved hearing about him talk about PV is how not only were the instructors like, hey, this dude knows what he's talking about, but even the other students, like, it didn't feel like there was competition. Like, everybody praised him for his smarts, if you will. So there was no competition. There was none of that, it felt like. And he never expressed any of that. So anyways, when he gets to U of H, it was a completely different him. He was very not himself. Again, not in an extreme way, but I did notice he wasn't, I got spoiled. He came home almost every weekend when he was in PV versus when he was in U of H. He came home maybe every other weekend, every other weekend. Now, some of that was because I didn't really like him driving from downtown to here. I hate the Houston traffic. It's crazy. They drive crazy. It's stupid. So some of that was because of that. But then the other part of it was, again, he started to kind of go inward, and I didn't like it. And again, as far as my nerves, that area riddled with crime. When I tell you, I started learning the street names in that surrounding area, and my little spidey senses would go off every morning, every evening. I'm watching the news, and they're like, "Oh, another a robbery happened on this spot. Another carjacking happened over here. Another attempted assault over here." My spidey senses were going left and right. And when he was there for his sophomore year, unfortunately, 2 kids had committed suicide. Several kids, like I said, and this is on campus. 2 kids had committed suicide. Several kids on campus had been robbed. And what really probably set me over the top one day is there was one morning I'm watching the news, and I hadn't talked to him for 2 days, right? And I'm watching the news, and they were talking about a U of H student was involved in a fatal car accident, and they haven't fully identified him as yet. They're waiting to identify. No, they've identified the student, but they're waiting to identify the parents. Now, on the news, all I saw was a mangled up gray Ford Mustang. What car you think my son has? A gray Ford Mustang. My heart fell out of my throat onto the floor, back through my throat into my body. I almost had a full-blown heart attack. Now I'm calling him like a crazy person. Calling. Now this was probably 6:30 a.m. that I saw that news report. He didn't call me back until 12:00 something. And this was right when I had finally called my husband, and I was like, I need you to go pick up our other stuff from school. I'm about to head down to U of H to go see what the hell is going on. He called me all day. I'm trying not to panic, and I'm trying not to say anything because I'm trying not to think the worst, but now I'm thinking the worst. Anyways, finally he calls me at 12:00 something. Hey, Mom, I see you blowing up my phone. I was in the middle of class. Before I could say, oh my God, thank you so much for calling me back, I let him have it. I probably cursed him out and said every name in the book except for calling him, baby, I love you, I miss you, thank you for calling me back. I cursed him out. My nerves were shot. And it was in that second. In that second, I was pretty much, yeah, you're not going back to U of H. At the end of this, at the end, it was almost, was it that semester? I wanted to pull him out by Christmas. I did. He had only been there from September to, he was there, he stayed the whole time, yes. I wanted to pull him out by Christmas. From September to Christmas, he had me on edge. But I let him stay. But U of H, probably a great school. I'll never know. I don't even think I'm letting my other one entertain it. This so aside from him going inward, what we then learned is that he wasn't going to class. He started going to class, but what he realized is that when he went to class, if he had a question, no one cared to answer it. If he didn't understand something, no one cared to clarify it. He learned there at U of H with his professors or whatever, they didn't care about him the way they did when he was at PV. No one gave a damn about him. No one really decided to learn him as a person as they did when he was at PV. See, when he was at PV, his professors damn near knew him by name, and he knew them. Here at U of H, they didn't know him. Now, granted, yes, the class sizes were bigger, but not by that much. And he was a decent student, so they would have taken the time to have gotten to know him. And he wasn't asking stupid questions. He was asking clarifying questions that more or less other students had the same question. So when he showed signs of struggle as far as academically, no one really, number one, saw the deer in the headlight look on his face to say, hey, do you need help? Number one. And number two, when he did ask initially, it was, oh, go find your academic advisor. Good luck with that. You got to make an appointment. Oh, and by the way, it's 2 weeks out. That's number two. And number three, it was just kind of like you're on your own. And so he was embarrassed to say something to me as his grades started to slip further and further and further and further. And so by the time his sophomore year was over and done with, it was a waste of a year. It was a complete waste of a year. Instead of 3 credits, we ended up with a credit and a half. So, or however many credits he's supposed to get in a year, I can't even remember now. But for that entire time, he ended up walking away with a credit and a half. And my husband and I's philosophy, but when he graduated high school was, look, you owe us 2 years, period, of college. You get to figure out life, but you owe us 2 years of college. But after those 2 years, if you haven't gotten, basically you owe us an associate's degree. And after that associate's degree, you can determine, hey, if college is the route for you, or what would you like us to help you pursue, other than a rap career. But what would you like us to assist you with? And so we were more firm at that point with, okay, yeah, it looks like we didn't know the full situation yet. So at the time, we were like, you wasted time. You was up there playing. You was up there BSing. At the time, that's what we were thinking with U of H. We didn't know, kind of the other stuff, that he just kind of felt abandoned up there, then that he was kind of losing his way. So when the sophomore school year was over and he came back home for the summer, really it was, all right, you have one option, and that's the military. Now, again, I feel bad that I made it like it was a bad thing initially. Yeah, at first I feel like we made it like oh, well, you joined in the military, because it should never be like it's a bad thing. Again, the military was a great option for us, which is weird because when we said it, our son never took it as it's a bad thing, because let him tell it, he always looked at it as, well, y'all came out all right, so how is it a bad thing? So that's really what made us kind of change our tune too, kind of looking at his demeanor when he was like, I don't know why y'all are acting like this is a bad plan B per se, because didn't y'all come out okay? Which we're doing damn good for ourselves, having that been both of ours. Well, that was our plan A, and both of ours plan A. Well, I'll just say technically, but anyways, it was both of ours plan A, air quotes. So in his eyes, he's like, all right, if it's to the military, I go. He never felt it as a fallback. So now fast forward, the military. Again, both myself and my husband were in the Army. I had no problems with him joining the Army. I'm not even gonna lie. We also did the old school thing of, and it still exists to this day, the old school thing of everybody and their mama who wasn't in the Air Force secretly wanted to be in the Air Force, only because it always looked like they had it easier. It always looked like it. Now I'm gonna tell you this. For all of you people that are in the Air Force, I'm glad I joined the Army. Okay? I'm going to say that. Proud, 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 and happy that I joined the Army. Yes, I'm happy myself in the Air Force, but I'm happy I joined the Army. Okay? There's so much in that recruiting process. Now, I don't know if this is the new age of recruiting. I tell you, I feel like if there was a bonus to be given for recruiting, I should have got it. I damn near recruited my son. Like, that was a long, strenuous process. And what I mean by that is it was like pulling teeth to get. So it reminded me again when I joined the military and I was looking for the Air Force recruiter. They did not want to work. It was like, yo, they kept saying on the news there's a shortage of military personnel. The Air Force, the Army, all of the services are having trouble meeting their quota. You would never know the way these folks never showed up to work. It was like, how are y'all complaining about meeting your numbers and y'all aren't in the office? There was no sense of urgency. There was no sense of hurry up and get to my office. Hurry up and turn in this paper. There was none of that. It was driving me crazy. I was losing all of my cool. So it got to the point he was actually about to get recruited by the Army guy. Because the way his little Air Force recruiter was being so, oh yeah, we'll try to get him. Try? Lady, when you don't bring your boy. Anyways, I'm glad I joined the Army. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It was very laissez-faire. I'll just say that to be nice. It was very laissez-faire. I was not with that at all. That was some mess. The hell, Air Force. The hell. Anywho. So my son is thriving. Not only did he thrive in basic training, he ended up picking. Don't get me to lie. I don't know. I only know Army code, MOS. He's in some type of I don't know, some type of cyber something. Anywho, but he's doing that, and he's doing well, doing very well, and he's back. His butterfly is back, if you will. His social butterfly is back again. He's definitely back to himself, and it's a pleasure to see. It's a joy to see. Like I said, he went ahead and went against our better judgment and did the AIT fall in love thing, but that's okay. We love her to death. She's a great girl. We love her. Faith, we love you. But yeah, joining the military was a great thing for him. And again, I do feel bad initially that we kind of looked at it as a plan B for him, rather than that it was a great option, a great second option, or a great option, period. It was a great thing for us, and it's a great thing for him. Now, like I said, we do have another son, who's 15 right now. So he's watching everything that we do, listening to everything that we say. And I'm very adamant with him and to remind him that the second shall be best and or better. Here in this house, I don't play that whole, the second gets to be because y'all know them families. Y'all know them families where the first, it's either the firstborn that's the F up or it's the second that's the F up. I don't want neither one of them to be the F up. I want both my boys to excel. I want my kids to come from that because I thought the next generation is supposed to be better. That's how the phones are supposed to be, right? The next gen, the next gen is supposed to be better than the last, right? Not backwards. So that's kind of how we treat our situation here in the house. I want, like, my son now, I feel like he's exceeding and excelling, and surpassing us. So I want our youngest son to exceed past his big brother, and maybe exceed and excel past us. That's how I want it to be, and so on and so forth. That's the legacy I want for me and mine. And I see that it's happening, and I'm very proud of that. So, long story short, he joined the Air Force. But either way, I'm just happy he joined the military. We are proud military members, veterans. We're a proud military family. I say this to the current regime: don't you hurt my child. Don't you get my child hurt out here in the world because y'all over here messing things up. Having said that, anywho, but no, we are a proud military family. For those of you who have children that have had interest in the military, encourage it. Don't ever discourage it, male or female. I think it's something. It was interesting to learn that only 1% of the population joins the military. I didn't join. Again, I did join for my own reasons or whatever. And again, as you can clearly hear, I am a female. I joined. I am a woman. I joined voluntarily. I don't think there should ever be a draft. We should always have enough people in the military. We should never need a draft. We should always have enough people willing to serve in the military, but there's a whole bunch of idiots out here wearing the gear, but don't have the courage to actually go ahead and defend this thing called our democracy. It's just interesting that only 1% of the U.S. population technically has only ever served in the military. And that's sad. So, those of you out there who have young people not knowing exactly what to do when they get out of high school, maybe encourage them that, not encourage them, remind them that the military is also a great option, whether it be the Air Force, the Army, the Marines, Navy, hell, the Space Force, if that's still around, um, and the Coast Guard. Coast Guard, they actually still do a lot of great things. Don't ask me, I don't know. But I'm sure they do a lot of great things. But all the military services, we definitely need to tip our hats to all that they do and quit. And a lot of these people need to quit just saying, "Oh, we respect the vets," and then nobody's willing to raise their right hands and do what they do. So, anyways, that's just my 3 cents on the matter. Those who have served, those who are still serving, thank you so much for your service. Those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, thank you so much for your service and your sacrifice. Thank you. All right. And it looks like we are done. This one actually gave me some trouble. Um, just I don't know why. It just gave me some trouble. It was just being a bit of a butt. Now, truth be told, even though I was stationed in Germany, I never made it up to Berlin. I stayed in the lower half of Germany. I did go to Frankfurt. I went to Stuttgart, went to Würzburg, went to Munich, obviously. Duh. But I never made it up to Berlin. Huh. Interesting. So I have no idea what this is. I'm assuming this is probably like their Capitol building. Maybe it's like a theater. Maybe like a main. I'll look it up. I'll have it posted. Um, you'll see it soon. And yeah. So this gave me a little. This is a little flimsy. I feel like they could have did this a little bit better. But again, $3. This is pretty cool. This remind. This reminds me of Die Hard. All I see is the building in Die Hard. That's all I see. The first Die Hard, which is a Christmas movie, by the way. The next time I come back and do one of the other sets, we'll see how that goes. But here's Berlin. All in all, no real complaints here. Still, relatively easy to put together. Even though it says 6, ain't no 6-year-old putting this together. Mm-mm. Not without some assistance. So, but yeah. But not too bad. Anyways, this is Katrina with just my 3 cents. Y'all have fun. Bye.